turn for my group and I to present on mural art. Moving on, what is mural art? Mural art is a painting directly on the wall. It comes from the Latin word murus, which means wall. Murals often shows the concept, value, hopes, and memories of the community where the arts are painted. For this project, we have to choose two sites. We have to choose two places for 4 mural arts. The first 2 arts are located in the Old Town Eco City, and the next 2 arts are selected in the Atmosphere Circumvallent, which is located in the southern of Klang Valley. Firstly, we are going to explain the mural arts which located in the Old Town Eco. The arts that we chosen is paper plane and old uncle with coffee cup. These 2 arts are located in the Old Town Eco. They are located in the same area. The old uncle with coffee cup is located at the first Old Town White Coffee Shop, where the paper plane is just a block away from the first artwork.
Okay, let's talk about the famous artist who is behind these 2 Igbo mural arts. His name is Ernest Dehary, currently 29 years old, and he's born from Lithuania. He is a famous artist who is skilled in creating oil paintings, sculpture and stencil, spray painting, and installation using the local resource material like old furniture, wood, and etc. And his work will take mostly towards social and cultural message, typically featuring children play or community interaction. And in 2012, Ernest received a worldwide recognition after creating a series of 6 street mural arts for Georgetown Culture Festival in Penang. Of course, the 2 most popular of his work is the children on the bike, and another one is the boy on the motorcycle. And I'm going to give a small brief about his background. And when he's young, his parents discovered his artistic talent and decided to send him to an art school. And after graduated, Ernest began to develop his work in direct contact with public space, where he interprets an architectural landscape in a fusion between the painting and the recycled object. And soon after, he began to travel around the world, and this route took him into a situation where he contributed greatly to street art in Asia. And the place he had traveled like Rome, Brussels, Kuala Lumpur, and Singapore. And this mural art made him to become famous. And now I'll pass the description of the 2 mural art for our.
Hi, hello miss, I'm Al, and I'm going to give a brief description of the mural art paper plane by Ernest Zakharovich. Alright, so this mural art portrays two very young kids, each with very different personalities, embarking on a journey in search of their dreams atop a paper plane. And alright, before we begin, you can see that the mural art is situated at the very top of the building. So what is the intention behind this? What is the idea behind this artist's intention? The intention is that, remember back when we were kids, we were treated as kings and queens by our parents, and we were allowed to do whatever we want. And yeah, we can do whatever we want. It is as if we were at the top of the world. So the artist intends to recreate this feel, and thus explains the location of the artwork. And so, moving on, we will talk about the features in the artwork. So why did he choose paper plane? So paper plane is a very ubiquitous childhood object. It's like every one of us has made or played paper plane. It is a very, we can resonate with it. Yeah. So, and in this context, the paper plane represents the dreams we had as a child. And moving on, we have the 2 kids. The kids represents the viewer in two different periods of time. The white kid wearing the cartoon printed shirt, he represents the viewer when he was still a kid. Because the color white is defined as innocent and pure. And notice how he is covering his face with his hands. That shows to us that he is still very inexperienced in life, and he has not been faced with any challenge. And on the other hand, the child in yellow, he takes helm of the plane, and he looks forward very sternly. That is because, as the color yellow suggests, he is more intellectual, more knowledgeable than the kid in white. And he realizes that after all the years, he realizes that in order for his dreams to succeed, he has to go through various obstacles life throws at him. And in short, the artist's message of this artwork is that to remind us of our childhood, and to remind us not to forget the dreams of greatness we had as a kid. Yes. And further, we're going to pass it to Leon to explain about the concepts.
Hi, I'm Leon. So I'm going to begin my presentation on the EPC concepts present in both mural arts in Old Town Ipoh. So the first concept present in the paper plane mural art is first impression. From afar, we can see that two children are actually playing actively and happily and full of energy. And the second concept present here is subjective perception. So instead of having an impression that a paper plane is just a mere object or a toy, we can also perceive it as freedom or independence of the childhood. So next, which is mass communication. The mural art here is also trying to communicate to the mass audience that everyone has a good old memory of simple yet meaningful games, playing with games, and the paper plane itself is something that everyone can connect with. And for the fourth concept, which is artifact, we can clearly see that there's actually two artifacts. The first is being the paper plane, and the second is the clothing, the white clothing which is one of the child is wearing with a cartoon figure imprinted on it. And that cartoon figure can actually help us to identify that the person in Walker's is actually a child, and it also reflects the child's innocence. So for the fifth concept, which is space. So more specifically, it's personal space between children, and it shows intimate relationship, and it also explains, and through intimate relationship we can know that they are playmates and they are good friends. And for the final concept here, which is hand gestures, it is also from the same child we can know that the child is actually closing his face with a mysterious and heroic look gesture, and this gesture explains that the child has the ability to dream and to fantasize.
Right, so coming back, I'm going to talk about the second artwork, the brief description of the second artwork, which is Old Uncle with Coffee Cup by Ernest Zakharevich too. Okay, so the artwork is commissioned by Old Town White Coffee Ipoh, the very famous franchise, and it intends to resonate with us by depicting a very huge picture, very huge artwork of an old uncle sipping his white coffee. How it resonates with us. His face shows us that his experience in drinking coffee is very enjoyable, very comforting, and very soothing. And moving on. Moving on, we see the significance of coffee in the local cultural development of Ipoh. Why do I say that? It's because that the artwork is so big, so huge. No, it's actually the age of the uncle. sipping on his white coffee. It shows us that he's casually sipping on his coffee. It shows us that it is a daily practice, and it is very commonplace among the locals. And seeing this opportunity, he still remains loyal even though as coffee franchises gradually arise in Ipoh. And so looking at this opportunity, the locals.
Okay, Leon, can you continue?
Yeah. Alright, so coming back to Leon.
So continuing on to the EPC concepts of the second mural art in Ipoh, which is the old man with the coffee cup. So the first concept which is present here is passive perception. So when it comes to the overall look of this mural art, we can actually feel the warmth and dizziness when it comes to coffee or the feeling of refreshness. And it also reflects back to the old man actually smiling, and it feels warm as well. And from the mural art, it is also trying to convey a positive connotative meaning, as enjoying white coffee is part of Old Town Ipoh, bringing back old memories of enjoying white coffee, and that is why it is a part of parcel of life in Old Town Ipoh. Next, which is stereotype. So obviously from the mural art, the main subject here is the old man. And because of that, we all may assume that coffee is enjoyed by the elderly citizen. And due to the fact that the main subject is the old man, the physical appearance of this old man can describe coffee is a lifetime enjoyment. So for the final concept present here, which is the symbol of the traditional coffee cup, and this symbol depicts the significant heritage value of Old Town.
Moving on to the murals art that is reflected in the atmosphere story compartment, which are Kids with Balloon and Naughty Uncle. Well, where is atmosphere? The atmosphere is located in the Golden Triangle of Southern Corridor in Klang Valley, which means that it's located in between of Puchong, Sri Kembangan, Tabajaya, and Putrajaya. The atmosphere is built in the year 2010 and is functioning as a commercial area. It has 80 pieces of mural artwork that painted by 20 talented Malaysian artists in December 2013. The first mural art that we're going to present is Kids with Balloon by Michelle Yeoh, who is the artist graduated from the One Academy, and she has been employed with big companies such as Deluxe and Carlsberg. She is also one of the active female artists in Malaysia.
Hi, I'm Tio. Now I'm going to talk about the description of this mural art. First of all, it starts off with two children, possibly their siblings, and then they're playing with balloons. So it kind of like reflects their cheerfulness and their carefreeness in their childhood days. But however, when they were playing with the balloons actually hit the wall. The soft textures of the balloon actually hit the rough and thick walls, and then it creates crumbles, and then eventually this crumble spreads out, and then it creates a hole. Now, why do we say that this balloon actually hit the wall? It's because the hole is actually circular, in a very circular manner. It reflects to the curvature of the balloons. So when this wall actually has a hole, it actually opens up to reveal a pink background. And then we can say that this pink background is actually a candyland because of the elements present in the vegetation, amenities, and also the houses inside, which are actually spirals. So we actually associate candy with things that are spiral in a circular manner, just like when we eat them in our childhood days. So it is actually kind of exciting to know that although the children found out a new place to actually explore, they actually held on to their balloons very closely. You can look at the boy and the girl, they're actually holding very closely to the balloons and they don't want it to let go. Although the girl is reluctant to actually move, her body posture is actually indicating that the balloon itself is something very precious and she wants to treasure the balloon. This actually indicates that the children are actually not materialistic, because although they discovered a place that is more attractive and then more extravagant, they still held on to something most dear to them, which is balloons, which are cheap and then which are not attractive. More importantly is that this artist uses colors in a very, I can say, smart and genius way. Pink itself actually means happiness, it means carefreeness, it means love. Therefore, it actually attracts the children to actually explore the background inside the whole. Colors such as blue, yellow, red, and green are colors of happiness. Therefore, the overall artwork actually brings the meaning of happiness by the artwork itself.
Hello, I'm Shreya and I'm going to be talking about the 5 EPC concepts in this mural art. The very first EPC concept is positive connotation. This means when emotions are connected with a word which has a literal meaning. These emotions tend to be positive, negative or neutral based on the experiences. If you see the image, kids are playing with balloons. For the kids, the balloons reflect joy, happiness, excitement. Thus, the word balloon reflects a positive connotation meaning. The second EPC concept is first impression. The first opinion which comes to your mind when you see something. When you see this image first, you see the pink color background. Pink color reflects innocence. The land made out of candy shows the creativity the kids have. Third, stereotype. Fixed image or idea towards a person or a thing. Generally, the color pink is stereotyped for girls, which is, as the kid is still young and innocent, he's not aware of the stereotype. Thus, he's breaking all the norms and still enjoying it. Subjective perception. How each person individually sees the physical world on their thinking. The main idea of this mural art is how each person receives joy differently. The girl is satisfied with the balloon. The boy is happy in his own imagination land. Hand gestures, another form of non-verbal communication. When you see the picture closely, the boy's body is leading towards the imagination land. This shows that he is curious and excited to discover the new place. Thank you. The last mural art is Roti Uncle, which is painted by Chakri Manso. Chakri is one of the famous local artists in local art scene. He has participated in international or local art events. He even exhibited his own art exhibition before.
Now I'm going to talk about the last mural art, which is Roti Uncle. Roti Uncle is actually a Manglish term because we mix together the word from Malay and English, Roti Uncle. Basically, Roti Uncle are also referred as roti men, which are Indian bread vendors. What they do is that they actually lay their motorcycles with breads, biscuits, buns and snacks on their motorcycle, and then they ride around in small country roads and then they sell bread to the local customers. Roti Uncle, the uncle itself is actually wearing simple clothing with simple striped t-shirts, long blue pants and also Crocs sandals. What this means is that the uncle itself is humble and simple. It's because of his simplicity and humility that attracts the customers to actually buy things from him because he seems to be approachable. Secondly is that Roti Uncle itself, if you look at the amount of load on his motorcycle, it actually has another meaning, means that his life is actually hard, strenuous and difficult. But although there are many circumstances and difficulties of the Roti Uncle itself, he still provides fresh bread to the customers daily because he wants to bring out joy and cheerfulness to the customers. Joy and cheerfulness can be portrayed by the use of colors on those snacks and also all those breads, so they actually portray joyfulness and cheerfulness. Lastly is that this uncle, he's actually looking at the back. Why? Because his buns are actually flying away from his motorcycle when he's dashing forward. He has a very strenuous and a very stern look because the breads are actually his source of income. If his breads are actually flying out and then dropping on the floor, there will be no source of income income, and then it will be difficult for him because he is the sole breadwinner of his family. So basically that's all.